Today in economics class, we are going to conclude production that we call production theory 2. And what we are going to look at under this production theory 2, we would like to look at law of variable proportion. That is where we will be talking about short-run production function. We will also look at long-run production function that we call law of return to scale. So these two are the areas that we'll be looking at today in our economics class. Law of variable proportion. This states that as more and more units of variable inputs are employed with a given level of fixed input, output will increase up to a point at which the increase in variable input will result in less additional units of output. What we are trying to understand in law of variable proportion is that we have two inputs, fixed input and variable input. Now, here we said we are talking about short-run period of a firm. And as the firm is trying to increase its output, fixed input is there, but only the variable input can be increased. So if there is an increase in the demand of the firm's product in the market, the firm cannot change its fixed input like that until the fixed inputs are used up to the maximum capacity, but the firm can only try and change or increase its variable input in order to increase the output. As the output is increasing as a result of an increase in variable input, total output will be increasing. But as they are getting toward the maximum capacity of the fixed input, right? Total output will reach a point that after that point, there will be a decrease in the total output as a result of what? As a result of over utilization of fixed input, because the fixed input has reached its maximum capacity. So whatever variable input being employed, the output will not increase. It will be a decrease in output at the end of the day. Let us use a schedule and demonstrate what we have defined here. Using the table in analyzing law of variable proportion, our variable inputs are fixed inputs. When we use the two inputs, we have product. The total product happens to be this, the average product is this, the marginal product is this. When we have one unit of variable input with a given level of fixed input, the total product is 10. The average is 10, while the marginal also indicated 10. When we have two units of variable input with fixed input, we have total product 25, average product 12.5, marginal product 15. With three units, we have this, and so on and so forth. What we would like to analyze here is that in law of variable proportion, there are three stages. We call the first stage increasing return, that is increasing marginal return. The second one, we call it diminishing return, that is diminishing marginal return. While the third one, we call it negative marginal return. That at the beginning of every firm operation, they will always have increasing marginal return in terms of their products because they've not used the maximum capacity of the fixed input. So in that case, the firm will experience what we call increasing return. As more variable input are employed, right, total output will be increasing to the extent that the fixed input will be getting to its maximum capacity. So that is what we can observe from variable input 3 down to variable input 7. Input 3, we have total product to be 37, average 12.33, marginal 12. As we are employing, or as the firm is employing more of variable inputs, total output is increasing up to 7 units of variable input, where we have total product to be 63. While the average product is decreasing gradually from 11.75, 11, 10, 9. Coming to the marginal product. Marginal product too is decreasing, but average product is above marginal products. So as the firm is trying to use its fixed input up to its maximum capacity, average product will be more than marginal products. That is the time the firm will be experiencing what we call marginal return at diminishing rates. Now, at variable inputs 8 and 9, let's start from 8. 8 indicates that the total product happens to be 63. The average product happens to be 7.9, while the marginal product 0. But when the firm employ additional worker, making it 9, the total product reduced to 62, while the average product also reduced to 6.9. What happened to the marginal product? Minus. That is, the firm has stressed or has overutilized the fixed inputs. So in that case, output will not increase. That's why we have decrease in it. Whereas there is underutilization of variable inputs. So at the end, the firm will experience what we call negative marginal return. That we wrote negative return here. Let us demonstrate law of variable portion with this diagram. These are output axes. These are variable input axes. We can observe that we have stage 1 here, stage 2 here, stage 3 here. What stage 1 is telling us? That when the firm starts production, the firm will experience increasing marginal return. Why do we have increasing marginal return? Because the firm has not used the fixed input up to the maximum capacity, but they've not employed variable input as well. That can be used toward the production so that the output can increase. So as the firm is moving toward the second stage, the firm will now be experiencing what we call diminishing marginal return. And when we say diminishing marginal return, there is an increase in output, but at diminishing rate. While the previous one implied increase in output at increasing rate. So as the firm is increasing its variable input, more output will be achieved gradually. So up to a point where the firm will use its fixed input up to the maximum capacity. And once the firm uses its fixed input up to the maximum capacity, total product will get to the peak that we have here. You observe that at this point, as it's coming down, it implies that total product is dropping. Take for instance, point A. Let us use point A, and this is point B. I think at this point A, total product has reached its maximum, while the marginal product is 0. That is what we have. That is what we have over there, where we have this, the 8 unit to be 0. That is, total product the total product of the firm has reached its maximum capacity when the marginal product is 0. Now, after that Q2, you can see that we are having increase in variable input. That is, it shows increase in variable input. But what happened to total product? Total product has started falling. So the implication is that once the total product reaches its peak, marginal product will be 0. And further production after total production has reached its peak imply that marginal product will be negative. But average product will be falling. It will not be negative. So what we try to understand what we are trying to understand is that there is a relationship between total product, marginal product, and average product. That as the total product is increasing, haven't got to the second stage, marginal product will be falling, but average product will be above marginal products. And once the total product reaches its peak, marginal product will be negative. But if the total product is falling, marginal product will now become negative. But in terms of average product will only be falling. while marginal product will be what? Continue to be negative. So there are three stages in law of variable proportion. So as a firm, no firm will not to produce beyond Q2, that is, once total product reaches its peak. As I've said earlier, that once total product reaches its peak, it implies that the fixed input has reached its maximum capacity. So if you further using the fixed input, then your total product will be falling. Law of return to scale. This describes the relationship between outputs and scale of input in the long run when all the inputs are increased in the same proportion. When we are talking about law of return to scale, it implies that all the inputs of a firm have become variable inputs, and the firm is already in the long run period. Why? Because the firm has changed or has increased its plans, maybe from one plan to second plan to third plan. All this makes the firm to be in the long run period. That is, no input is fixed again. All the inputs have become variable inputs. Let us use the table before us to analyze law of return to scale. We have said it, that we are talking about law of return to scale. It implies that the firm is already in the long run period, where all the input of the firm become variable inputs. Take for instance, assuming the firm has one labor plus 2 acres of land, the total product is 8. The marginal return also will be 8. Assuming the firm increases the number of labor to 2 and acres of land to 4, the total product indicates 17. The marginal return will not be what? Will not be 9. Now, the firm further increases the variable input, that is, all its input, to 3 and 6 of acres of land. The total product is 27. Marginal return is 10. You observe that as the firm is increasing its variable input or increasing its input, total product are increasing from 8 to 17, 27, 38, 49, 59, 68, 76. But let us look at the marginal return. We have 8 for the first scale, we have 9 for the second scale, we have 10 for the third scale, we have 11 for the fourth scale, we have 11 for the fifth scale, we have 10 for the sixth scale. You observe that from the first to third scale, the firm is experiencing increasing return to scale. While from the fourth to the fifth scale, the firm has constant return to scale. And then from the sixth to the eighth one, the firm is having diminishing return to scale. So the implication is that when a firm increases all its inputs, total product will increase. Marginal product will also increase. It implies that the firm will have a decrease in the cost per unit of its outputs. But the situation where the firm is having constant return to scale, it implies that the firm increases its variable input in the same proportion. The two variable inputs are increased in the same proportion, but the output happens to be constant. So the implication is that the firm has increased its variable input or its input, but the output, the change in output is still constant, that we call constant return to scale. The implication is that the cost per unit will not change. They will still do the same with the previous one. So the first stage that we call increasing return to scale, a decrease in the cost per unit. The second one we call it constant return to scale. That is a constant in the cost per unit. It's not decreasing, it's not increasing, but cost per unit is unchanged. Looking at scale 6, where we have 6 labor with 12 acres of land. The total product is 59, while the return happens to be 10. Scale 7, 7 workers plus 14 acres of land. We have total product to be 68, where the marginal return happens to be 9. The 8 scale happens to be 8 workers plus 15 acres of land. Total product happens to be 76, where the return is 8. Looking at this area, we have diminishing return. The diminishing return has an implication on the firm. That is, the firm has increased its inputs, but the return happens to be diminishing return indeed. So the implication is that there will be an increase in cost per unit of the firm output. Unlike when the firm is experiencing increasing return, here, where the cost per unit will decrease. So to summarize the table, there are 3 stages in return to scale: increasing return to scale, constant return to scale, diminishing return to scale. So increasing return to scale implies that increasing input in order to increase output so that cost per unit can decrease. Constant return to scale implies that there is an increase in inputs, but the return is not changing, it's constant. Here, the cost per unit will be constant, that is, it will be unchanged. While diminishing return implies that despite that the firm has doubled its inputs, but the return in terms of marginal return has not increased, but is diminishing. So the implication is that there will be an increase in the cost per unit of the firm output. Examples. Question 1. The law of diminishing return begins to operate when A. Total product begins to increase. B. Total product begins to fall. C. Marginal product begins to fall. D. Marginal product begins to rise. The right answer is C, where marginal product begins to fall. Question 2. A situation in which all inputs are doubled and output also doubles is known as A. Constant proportion, B. Constant return, C. Increasing return to scale, D. Constant return to scale. The right answer is C. Increasing return to scale. Question 3. The concept which shows responsive level of output to changes in the quantity of input used in a given production process is called A. Increasing return to scale, B. Constant return to scale, C. Return to scale, D. Decreasing return to scale. The right answer is C. Return to scale.